Hi everyone, it's Jay from Mitosu Crafts and welcome to the Creating Kindness Design Team video haul. The theme this month is art inspiration, and I'll be recreating this card and changing it up a little bit by using the Silhouette Scenes stamp set, Forever Fern, and the sentiment I'll keep the same with the love sentiment from Well Said. I'll also be using the subtle embossing folder, and the inks for today are Balmy Blue, Pacific Point, and Night of Navy. So let's get started. So my card base is a Night of Navy measuring 21 centimeters by 14.6 centimeters folded in half, or that's 8 and a quarter by 5 and 3/4. The layer is it'll have a 1 centimeter border around, so that's 8.5 by 12.6, or 3/8 of an inch border, so that'll be 3/8 by 5 inches. I'm also gonna add another layer just by cutting basic black and the same size on there, because I'll be distressing the top. Hopefully we can see the black underneath. Okay, so first off, I will get my Stamparatus. So this one is great for if you are going to use Memento, so you can build up the image. If you would prefer to use Stays On, you can do that freehand. But I'm gonna add my paper there. This is Thick Whisper White. And then just ink that up. Memento tends to be quite lighter than Stays On, so it does need a couple of coating when you're using it. And with the Stamparatus, it's great because it's a stamp positioning tool. There's a bit of thing there, and you can just stamp over in the same area as before. So let's do that a couple of times. There we go. I'm happy with that one. And I can take that off the Stamparatus. You could also clean that whilst I'm here using the chamois, which is great. So yes, so the theme, as I said, was art inspiration. And when I created this card, it was actually inspired by couple under umbrellas paintings online. I've seen quite a few of them, mostly black and white with a pop of red. So that's why I'm doing the red cardstock for the sentiment. So next we are going to add the greenery as well as the sponging on the bottom of the card. And the way to do that, I've done it just by tearing off a piece of paper, and then I'm using Tuxedo Black Memento again and sponge dauber. So you just place that on top. Just make sure that you place it just below or just above their shoes, so then at least they look like they're standing on something. And then just ink that up. For faster application, you could always just use your ink pad and swipe it down. If you want a more darker coverage, you can then mix it up with your sponge dauber. There we go, and I quite like the texture that it created on there. So next I'm gonna add the Forever Fern greenery. So I thought I wanted to frame the couple a little bit more. So that with the Forever Fern even, I'm just gonna stamp randomly. And this one I'm just gonna do without the stamp apparatus. So if it is lighter, it doesn't matter too much. There we go, and one more. And that is done. Like so. So I actually embossed this this layer, before sponging. So it does take a while to sponge after, and I'm gonna try sponging the lighter areas before I emboss it, but I'm gonna wait for it to dry a little bit more, because when you're sponging, and if the memento is still wet, it will pull the darkness from the ink. So whilst that's drying, I'm gonna go ahead and do some heat embossing. So with the sentiment piece, the width of this is 3 centimeters or 1 1/8 of an inch. Okay. I'm gonna cut slightly on top. And then 1.9. There we go. I've also gone ahead and die cut a gold foil piece. So I die cut that with the rectangle stitch framelits dies, and then that is actually the edge of the gold foil, and that's the edge of the die cut. Or you can do a double stitching, so that's the edge of the die cut, and then I reposition it with another die, running it through the die cutting machine on the top there. Okay, so I'm gonna sponge around the image. Just make sure it's nice and clean. And I'm using balmy blue first with the dauber. And I'm just taking off any excess. So yeah, so it's a lot easier to sponge whilst it's not embossed yet. It took a while, it took a lot longer sponging whilst it was embossed, because I wanted to hit some of the debossed areas. If you are enjoying yourself, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss any future uploads and videos. So just go slowly and blend those two colors as much as you can. If you want more texture, you can go straight in to the cardstock. But for a smoother blend, try to start off the page or the card. So I'm just gonna add another layer of the balmy blue just to in between, but again starting off the page, and then we can emboss it with the subtle embossing folder and then add the third layer of colors. There you go. So with the subtle embossing folder, I do want the design to go diagonally. So I'm just gonna place my card at an angle. So as a tip, if you have the Stampin' Up logo, that will be the front of the card. And I want it to go the other way. There you go. So it mimics kind of like the rain direction. And that's just gonna be run through, go through the embossing folder, and then we can sponge even more. There we go. So I'm gonna use Night of Navy to add more colors in the border, around the border. And because it's most of the sponge color is only hitting the embossed areas, the deboss paper cardstock are staying lighter. And if it's too dark, you can also go back in with the Pacific Point. To just brighten it up a little bit more. There we go. So next we're gonna use the Stampin' Chalk marker to just add a bit more detail. And just using the tip and just do a couple randomly dot around the umbrella. If you have it more upright, it'll be smaller dots, or if you do it on its side, it's larger dots. So I'm just gonna do on there and a couple on the actual umbrella, and then on the ground as well. If you do like the Stampin' Up products that I'm using today and you don't have them yet, you can check out the links below, which for the products that you can order from our online shop. You can also save on craft supplies, future craft supplies, when you join our Stampin' Up team, as you get more for your money when you join, as well as future discounts when you order for yourself. And then you can then use the side or the tip just to kind of like do some rain drops, I guess, or it does dry lighter than normal. So if you want more intense, you can intensify it by going over it again. I think the original was slightly darker, but you get the idea. And then you can add just random dots around, I guess. There we go. So now I'm gonna distress the edges. I tend to use the side, not opened, the side of the snips. So just go back and forth. And support it with your index finger and your thumb. Here we go. And just double check that underneath the black layer, and you can push it out a bit more if you need to, or just leave it as is, so you just get a hint of the basic black. So I'm gonna add that on. Wait for it to dry, and then you can just pull back the distressed pieces so you can see more of the basic black or the black card. Okay. So now we'll just construct the card. Don't forget to check out the description below for the next link for the Creating Kindness Design Team video hub, as well as the product list, which you can order from an online shop. If you are going to order, make sure you use the current host code to get a small thank you from us the next month. And if you do order more than 45 pounds, you get a free tutorial bundle designed by the Stamping Glam Squad. Once your card is done or on the card base, you can use fine tip glue pen to add more texture and interest. So with this one, just randomly add dots in different size. You will need to leave this on a flat surface until the fine tip glue has dried. So I will not lift this up because that will make the glue run down. There we go. I'm gonna leave that flat and I'll put up pictures on our blog once it's dried. But this is the original. You can see that the original is slightly darker on the edges. So I managed to get a bit more details with the chalk marker. But with the sponging on here, because it is lighter, it does look like water splashes already. Hop along to the next video to check out what the rest of the design team have created with the theme of art inspiration. Thanks again for joining me. Until next time, bye!